Hi, Matt Ganzek here. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to make a $100 million app vibe coded, step by step, exactly what you need to do, the pitfalls that you're going to run into. I run a successful startup studio and incubator, and I've vibe coded some apps. I've gotten funding in the millions of dollars from apps that I've developed, and I want to walk you through exactly where people fail. As part of our studio, we have 300 people a month apply, and I'll tell you where the breakdown is and give you the exact steps that you could take and a tool that you can use in order to avoid these pitfalls. So this is you. You have a wonderful idea and you go immediately to vibe coding. You go to Replit, Lovable, Bolt, whichever platform, doesn't matter. They're all basically the same thing. And you start building the app. And then you launch the app when you feel like the features are there and you feel like you have something. And then you say, all right, well, I'm not really getting traction. So what do? You either go back to an idea or you start thinking, maybe I need to raise money. But I'm telling you, no one wants to talk to you until you have traction. What is traction? Let's say 10,000 in monthly recurring revenue. That's when you can possibly start talking to people. And then there's a whole set of things, I'll talk about that in a minute, that you need to worry about. Now, this is the failure loop. And I see this time and time again. Because you have an idea, you move directly into vibe coding, and you're building quite possibly the wrong thing for the wrong audience, and the wrong everything is considered. And then you launch and you expect to get business, and maybe you spend some money in this path, but this entire thing can take months. This entire process could take months out of your life. So you lose months, you lose your sanity, and you're on the path to give up. You just want to quit. Let's face it. There's nearly 100 million apps that are going to be developed in 2026, and this failure loop is going to happen about 99% of the time. So I don't want you to fall into this. What is the correct way? I wrote it over here. So let's take a look at the correct path, if you can see that. This is you. This is your idea. You need to go through a validation step. So if you want to link to my validator, it's a validator that I've used, and big VC firms use this validation, and we trained it on an LLM based upon all the successful businesses that we could find and exactly the steps that they took, and it gives you a 1 out of 10 and gives you exactly what you should do if you have the wrong ICP, if you need a co-founder, if you need to have distribution planned ahead of time, what you need to do to validate, how you can build a landing page to validate your assumptions, etc. So you spend time going back and forth between the validator and idea to go back and forth until you have a really good, solid plan, a good product market fit, a good demand, a good ICP, all these pieces that are clearly in place, and it gives you the go to say, all right, now it's time to go, now it's time to build. You take that idea and given the feedback and everything that you've created, and now you start to vibe code the app. I recommend using apps like ChatGPT to help write prompts and things like that. Don't just go in and write one single line of code or one single prompt and think it's going to build everything for you. Clearly understand who your ICP is, and that's ideal customer profile, exactly what the market demand is, what your wedge is going to be into the market, and then write it based upon that. So now you start iterating in your vibe coding, then you launch, then you get traction. Hopefully in your validation, you even create a wait list. When I sold one of my apps and we went to market, we had 2,000 people on the wait list, and we sold to them on launch day, and I made my entire investment back and then some on launch day. I turned my wait list into affiliates to start promoting for me. We grew to 350,000 users, and I didn't spend a single dollar in advertising. So that's all profit. We scaled to 7 figures a year, and I exited the business. That can be done easily in vibe coding today. But the problem is you get stuck in this loop over here. And when you get stuck in the loop, you're going to quit. You're going to lose momentum. You're going to lose interest in what it is that you're doing. You'll be on to the next thing or the next greatest thing that you come across on the internet. So point is, you vibe code, you launch, you get traction. Then you get investors, because investors want to know these answers to the questions. What is your cost of acquisition? What is your lifetime value? What is your churn? And where are you going? What's your market value? Where are you going in the market? And how exactly are you planning on getting there? You can't answer any of those questions until you get traction. So once you have traction, you can raise money from investors if that's the path you want to go. I have some apps that I own 100% of, and I decided I can bootstrap this entire thing up to $100 million valuation or beyond by not even taking on money at all. But I do have apps that we've taken on investors for that have been vibe coded apps that we've done. So it is very successful. An investor isn't going to say, did you vibe code this? Like they're not going to care. They care about the traction. This is the piece that they care about, as well as, you know, where you're going, your roadmap, your use of funds. Also, as part of our validator, which is linked below, you can jump on that. As part of our validator, we also do a founder score as well. So you have a founder score. And we'll talk about that in future videos of how the founder score multiplies your idea, and the stronger your founder score is, which if you don't have a great founder score, that's maybe where you go and find somebody that has industry knowledge, know-how, and experience to partner with, and you can pull in some of their founder score to make your venture that much more successful, and especially in raising money. And you can have co-founders. So that's definitely something that I recommend. And a great way to bring in co-founders is having great clarity, having a clear product, being able to demo the product, and bring on co-founders to really increase that founder score. Because I really believe that a great founder score is better than a great idea. Because if a founder score is an A+ and you have A+ founder score, you absolutely can take a B or a B+ idea and have a successful business. But having an A idea and having a C or a B founder score, you might not get the traction that you're looking for. You might not get the interest from investors that you're looking for. You might not be able to ramp up and do the things that you want to do with this business. So maybe find some great co-founders and get that better founder score. And then the capital piece, you know, how much money do you have to invest to test and launch and bring through this process? And again, if you're going through this failure over and over and over again, you're wasting thousands of dollars in trying to validate something through traction, but you should be validating before you actually write a single line of code. So that's what we force everyone to do in our startup studio and in our incubator. And that's why we have such a much higher success rate, because we don't move to coding until we actually have that validation of the app and what we're doing. And then you move to exit, you have your exit, you make a good chunk of money, 7, 8, possibly 9 figures. You go back to your next idea. So that's the loop of success. That's the loop of winning. That's the loop that we're on. And that's what we force all of our people into in this process. So hopefully that helps to avoid this failure loop and get into our validator that you can validate your ideas. So again, I'll link below to it. You can jump on and start validating your ideas and start moving with confidence and not moving with that uncertainty. And the clarity is the piece that's gonna create the momentum that's like falling down a hill. So that's the success of moving forward with clarity versus not having clarity and just getting stuck in that failure loop. So subscribe, definitely drop me a message if you have any questions, and hop into our validator and start validating those ideas, start moving through your success loop. All right, we'll see you on the next one.